So if you go to this guy. So the Democratic National Committee chair, Tom Perez, issued a list of individuals he nominated for the 2020 Democratic National Convention committees. Did you hear about this?
Oh.
Yes.
Have you heard about this, Ron? Yeah, you have?
Hmm.
So this guy, Kevin Costello, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I decided to follow him because he did such an awesome thread on this, so now I'm following him. So he says, let's examine some of the individuals. I'll initially focus on the nominees for the DNC Platform Committee. So let's go down to his next tweet. He says, Dennis McDonough was Barack Obama's chief of staff during his second term. Did you even know that? I couldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
I couldn't have picked that guy out of a lineup.
Yeah.
Dennis McDonough, that name?
Not a chance.
Really? And he was the chief of staff, and I didn't know his name. I was doing a political show. I didn't know his name. Yep. See what I'm talking about? Big gaps in knowledge. He also chairs Rework America Task Force, which launched Rework America Business Network with Heidi Capozzi, Senior Vice President of Human Resources at Boeing.
It's a lot of grassroots.
Yeah, a lot of
Tom Perez.
Tom Perez reaching in deep into the grassroots of the Democratic Party. Their military-industrial complex funders. So the next one is Rework America Business Network that McDonough helped launch. Court says its founding members, the following: Archer Daniels Midland, Boeing, Duke Energy, Kaiser Permanente, McKinsey & Company, that's where Buttigieg worked, Microsoft, Stanley Black & Decker, Walmart, and Zurich Insurance. Wow.
Wow is right.
That's the Democrat.
That's a who of who's destroying the country.
That's right.
Or, excuse me, the world.
That's right.
Country is under world.
Here's another one. John Hamm portrayed McDonough in a 2019 film, The Report, which told the story of Senate CIA torture report through perspective of Senate staffer Daniel Jones. On behalf of the CIA, McDonough advocated for more redactions from the executive summary that was released.
So he wasn't the good guy.
Not the good guy.
In other words,
He's
he wasn't
the bad
good guy.
So here's Danielle Gray, former Obama administration official, is the senior vice president, chief legal officer, and corporate secretary for Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Oh, so she's going to be
on the platform committee.
Oh, fantastic.
These are the people who are running the Democratic Party.
So corporatists are going to be on the committee.
Wow. To put it mildly.
Wow,
Steph,
nice progress.
If they could put the corporate Blue Cross Blue Shield on the committee, they would. If they could.
If they could have Jamie Dimon there.
So the next one is, go to the next tweet. Gray was partner in the New York law firm of Mulverney and Myers, where she advised healthcare companies, financial service institutions, universities, and clients in a range of industries on litigation, internal investigations, and government enforcement actions. Here's Jake Sullivan. He's a member of the Alliance for Securing Democracy's Advisory Council. He was a senior policy advisor for Hillary Clinton's 2016 and 2008 presidential campaign. Sullivan was also a national security advisor to Vice President Joe Biden.
So eventually they're going to...
Yeah, go ahead.
So eventually there are going to be some real progressives being...
Well, we're going to find out. Here's Georgia State Senator Nikema Williams, served as a member of Obama Victory Fund 2012. She was one of the top 10 influential African-American bundlers for Obama. Top contributors to the PAC included employees from Comcast, Goldman Sachs, and Google, etc. Here's Carol Browner. She's a senior counselor for Albright Stonebridge Group. Oh, no kidding. That's a business firm founded in 2009 by former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. She worked on climate change policy in the Obama administration. Clinton's campaign appointed Browner to the 2016 DNC platform drafting committee. As a Clinton delegate during the 2016 platform drafting committee meeting, she voted against a ban on fracking. She voted against Medicare for all. She opposed she voted against opposing the Trans-Pacific Partnership. She voted against keeping fossil fuels in the ground.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I got to ask you. Are you telling me this is for the Republican platform?
No, this is the Democrat. Absolutely no difference. Here's Mary Kay Henry is the president of here's another one. Mary Kay Henry is the president of SEIU. In 2015, she ensured the major union endorsed Hillary Clinton early.
Yeah, that thing that pissed a bunch of people off?
Yes.
She was behind that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was a corrupt like a corrupt union leader. That's what it seems like. SEIU donated $1 million to Priorities USA, the primary super PAC that supported Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign, in spite of Clinton's reluctance to back a $15 minimum wage. So even when they get somebody from a union, they get somebody who's against the workers. Isn't that something?
It's amazing.
It's amazing how they do this.
Totally neutral bunch.
How about Charlie King? He's a lobbyist, close ally of Governor Andrew Cuomo, former executive director for the New York State Democratic Party, and a 2020 Democratic superdelegate. Bakari Sellers was Kamala Harris's surrogate and surrogate for Hillary Clinton in 2016. He has disingenuously insisted Bernie has long way to go with black voters despite contrary polling. See how Sellers welcomed Bernie to the DNC primary when he announced his 2020 campaign? I don't have a problem with Bernie getting in the race. When is he getting out is probably a better question. That guy's on the Democratic Platform Committee. That guy. In 2015, Sellers became a member of the National Council of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC, the notorious pro-Israel government lobbying group. Go ahead, next one. Sellers drafted a letter and spearheaded the effort in 2016 to ensure that the DNC platform did not adopt language Bernie Sanders supported, which would have acknowledged responsibility to confront humanitarian crisis facing Palestinians in Gaza. Woo. Have you had a bowl full of neoliberals yet? Wow, this is something.
So far, the one with the least horrible resume is corrupt union leader.
Corrupt union leader.
That's like the
That's
one
the
that's
best.
the least offensive so far.
And do you see why Bernie should be running against this? Like, he should just take this out every time he gives a speech and just read this off. This is who the Democratic Party is. This is who I'm coming to revolt against and overthrow. Instead, he says, most of these people are my good friends. Don't do that, right? So hopefully he's not doing that anymore. You know he's going to.
Well, he's running against them whether he likes it or not.
No,
they're gonna do everything they can to stop him.
Right?
I mean, this is not the impartial thing they promised.
That is such a great way to put it, Ron. That Bernie's running against these people whether he knows it or not.
When Bernie had lost, and then he started to campaign for the DNC, and he was on. Remember that clip that we had?
Unity tour?
Yes, but it was when Tom Perez was on stage for less than 20 seconds. Nobody cared for Tom Perez. Nobody likes Tom Perez, and he immediately had to pander to the audience by saying, "You're going to see later, Bernie Sanders," and the crowd erupted.
Yes. When he started, because they would boo him, and so to preempt the boos, he would keep mentioning Bernie's name to get cheers, so they would stop booing him. It didn't really work.
But my point ultimately is you have this nefarious person, Tom Perez, who gets to recommend positions, and he's only working against all of us. Tom Perez, bad guy.
Bad guy, not a good guy.
Not a good guy.
He's not your friend. Tom Perez is not a friend of the working man.
And we're noticing through these recommendations.
He used to be labor secretary, so it's kind of ironic. But those are the kind of people they hire. I mean, look what they got. They got the union, the corrupt union guy, right? It's just funny. We'll get that corrupt guy to be the head of labor. All right, that guy who doesn't really like labor, we'll get him.
We're going to be completely impartial. I mean, there's one guy who favors a plan called Medicare for All, and everyone here works for Big Pharma, but it's going to be completely impartial. They'll just look for a new job. They're fine with it.
Here's another guy. Let's go back to this. Dan Shapiro is the former ambassador of the United States to the State of Israel. He backed moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, if done the right way. And here's Shapiro in November 2019 championing virtues of U.S. military aid to Israel. This is on the goddamn Democratic Platform Committee. Wendy, sure, it's just like a joke. This is like The Onion could have written this article.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I want the last one to just be like, here's Tom. He's just kind of a dickhead. He doesn't even have a resume. He's just a douche.
Here's Bob. We have a video of him kicking puppies. Wendy Sherman is a senior counselor at the Albright Stonebridge Group, a business firm founded by Madeleine Albright.
Oh, good.
She was Clinton's delegate in the 2016 DNC platform drafting committee who voted against Medicare for All, voted in favor of the TPP, and voted against banning fracking. While Sherman was lead negotiator for the Iran nuclear deal and has previously backed diplomacy with North Korea, during drafting of the 2016 platform, Sherman opposed language on Israel occupation and suggested the BDS movement creates anti-Semitism. Craig Smith was White House political director during President Clinton's administration. He was campaign director and senior advisor to Joe Lieberman's 2004 presidential campaign. Smith also was senior advisor for Super PAC Ready for Hillary and later Clinton's 2016 campaign. Megan Stabler is a member of the Democratic Majority for Israel, the DMF. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, neither.
What is it? DMFI.
DMFI.
Oh, DMFI. I missed the I back there. That would be just Democratic Majority 4. That's no good. DMFI, a group that advocates for pro-Israel Democrats. She also served on the National Board of Directors of the Human Rights Campaign. Okay. FYI, the DNC Platform Drafting Committee will define the Democratic Party's policies and priorities for domestic and foreign affairs in 2020. FYI.
So this isn't just a list of the shittiest music concert you ever
Right.
heard of.
Right.
These people have power.
He says, next, I'll focus on some of the individuals who the DNC chair Tom Perez nominated for the 2020 Democratic National Convention Rules Committee. How about Maria Cardona is a 2020 Democratic superdelegate and a CNN and an Espanol contributor. She also is a principal at the Dewey Square Group, a lobbying firm that has fought on behalf of corporate interests
good.
against progressive reforms.
Oh, that's good.
She's on the Rules Committee.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing Bernie did that Unity tour. From 2016, The Intercept story, Dewey's Square Group worked on behalf of the health insurance industry during health reform debates, even placing letters to editors in newspapers under names of elderly Massachusetts residents without their knowledge or consent.
Oh.
Wow.
This is like
This is comical.
this is a who's who of white collar crimes. We
No
got it all.
No kidding.
You want Big Pharma? We got Big Pharma.
Okay. Oh, here's Maria Cardona wrote a column for Univision in March 2016's, quote, Sanders' socialism does not sit well with Florida voters. She invoked Venezuela, ignoring how U.S. policy has targeted and destabilized the country since at least 1998 because socialism was incorporated into their democracy. Maria Cardona invoked right-wing attacks to discourage support for Warren and Sanders. If Warren and Sanders remain among top Democrats tier, Trump will continue to try to paint all Democrats as radical socialists who want to turn the U.S. So she's saying it's bad to have, you got to have more people who are more like Republicans running as Democrats.
Oh, man.
Why oppose something? Because they can then say you're opposing them.
Why can't they just go to the Republican Party?
Just go be a Republican. Let us vote for a progressive.
Can you imagine the dinner party with this bunch?
No
like,
kidding.
geez, how many times was a manager asked for within the first 5 minutes?
Shit.
Unreal.
Barney Frank. Oh, Barney Frank. Barney Wall Street Frank. Barney Frank is a former congressman who currently is on board of directors of the Signature Bank in New York. In July 2018, New York Times examined how the bank was a go-to lender for President Donald Trump's family, as well as Jared Kushner's family. Now, if that was a Russia bank, Trump would be originally... Well, how come it doesn't go the other way? How come they're not also Russian if they're working with Russian Trump?
That's a good question.
Why isn't Barney Frank? Is he Russian? Barney Frank argued against the Green New Deal in February 2019, even as the climate change threat rapidly intensified. There's an argument that you don't destabilize the society by doing too much change at once. There's an argument. You guess how much change climate change is going to do, you fuckface? In July 2015, early in the primary, Barney Frank wrote a column for Politico, Why Progressives Shouldn't Support Bernie. He advocated against democracy because he believed if Sanders presented a formidable challenge to Clinton, it would weaken her. Viewed as an attack surrogate for Clinton in 2016, Bernie Sanders demanded Barney Frank be removed as head of Rules Committee. That request was rejected. Sanders believed Frank had deeper professional, political, and personal hostility toward his campaign, which is true. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms endorsed Joe Biden in June 2019. Even in November, as Biden's poll numbers sagged, she maintained he'd be the best nominee. People have long underestimated Joe Biden, and he's been consistent. Yeah,
At
consistently
losing.
horrible.
Yes, as being a creep.
Okay. How about Chris Liu was Deputy Secretary of Labor for President Obama. In 2016, when issues of trade deals killing jobs was raised, Liu replied, quote, TPP is a great opportunity for U.S. companies that sell products overseas, and jobs relying on exports pay better.
And that worked out so well that later people took on a chance on a guy who screwed over workers his entire career.
Yeah, that's how well
That's
that
how
worked.
well that worked out.
That worked out. People voted for a political novice game show host who was an obvious charlatan.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Gallardo Rucker is vice chair of the California Democratic Party. She endorsed Clinton. She's a 2020 superdelegate. Gallardo Rucker is a senior advisor for Mike Bloomberg's presidential campaign. Jesus Christ. Charlie Baker is co-founder of Dewey Square Group. Baker was chief administrative officer for Hillary for America, also senior advisor for Kerry Edwards, Gore Lieberman, Clinton Gore. Let's go to the next one.
Why
This
do
is
I
the
want all these people who have supported Clinton on this?
That's right.
Her platform lost, everybody.
That's right.
She lost.
Yeah, but the donors still control the party. And they're all bundlers and this is what this is.
This is the worst dating app ever, I gotta say.
Yeah.
None of these people are interesting. I don't want to meet anyone here.
Oh, no. James Boland is president of Bricklayers and Allied Craft Workers. In September 2015, the union endorsed Hillary Clinton. Again, we got another corrupt union guy. He is also on board of directors of the National Endowment of Democracy. That's the NED. They fund that Bellingcat, which smears anti-war voices.
Oh.
They directly fund these fucking douchebags who run these websites that will do propaganda smears against any truth tellers about war.
James Boland, no friend of bricklayers, no friend of craft workers.
I'm gonna guess that guy. My guess is he's pretty corrupt, and that's why a lot of people say they're against unions, because their leaders are corrupt, right? And we've seen movies about it after movie. About, well, any organization can be corrupt. That doesn't mean you get rid of the organization. Hey, we got some corrupt billing at the hospital. You don't close down the hospital, but you get rid of guys like this. Or if you're Tom Perez, you elevate them. To the rules committee. Daniel Halpern was appointed by the DNC chair Tom Perez to be a DNC deputy national finance chair in 2017. This Pace magazine article details how Halpern fought against raising minimum wage. He was the chair of the Georgia Restaurant Association. Wow. They literally are staffing their entire thing with like people who should be Republicans.
Yes, they should be in the Republican Party. Get out of the Democratic Party.
So Heidi Heitkamp wrote a column in May 2019 urging Democrats to remain opposed to expanding Medicare for all. This is your Democratic Party? This is the vote blue no matter who? Do you see why it drives me nuts when people say vote blue no matter who? So should we do one more? Let's do one more. We'll do one more. In March 2019, Heitkamp insisted Americans want realistic solutions. She does not believe Medicare for all or the Green New Deal should be part of the Democratic messaging to voters.
And how'd that work out, Heidi?
How's it working out?
How'd that work out?
Here's Heidi Heitkamp in October 2019, drawing from her experience as a former tax commissioner to argue against taxing the rich. Next one. Harold Ickes chaired Bill Clinton's presidential campaign in 1992. He was Bill Clinton's deputy chief of staff. He was a senior advisor and strategist for Hillary Clinton, including her 2008 campaign. Like many of the nominees, he's 2020 superdelegate, and he was in 2016 too. All right. So, all right, just come to me. So we could do this all day, everyone. I mean, this is a long, long list. And every one worse than the previous. This is your Democratic Party? You happy? Can you believe this?
It's depressing.
This is your Democratic Party. This is the vote blue no matter, you gotta vote blue. I'm not. I'm gonna vote Bernie or Tulsi. That's it. Hopefully I get to vote for both of them. That's my wish. That would be awesome. And I know I use that word like a millennial. Awesome. I say it too much. I say awesome. Hey, come see a live Jimmy Dore show. We're going to be in Tempe, Arizona, Sacramento, San Jose, Miami. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all tickets to all of our live shows, and go to jimmydorecomedy.com/join to become a premium member. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Thanks for your support.